when I started going to people's homes, I remember the first home I was door knocking. It was, I was praying to God for them not to answer the door. I was nervous as heck. And the reason I'm sharing this is if you're a new person and on this call and then you're nervous, if you're not nervous or you're not scared, then something wrong with you.
That's right. That's very, very true. All right, love everybody. Grady Polson here, Family First Life America. So excited to have Shadi Gharfeh on with us today. Last year, he was FFL's #2 producer, and I believe he only got inched out by a penny. So we'll call him his number. He's our number 1A or 1B producer in the entire company. He's issue paid over $4 million in the past 3 years in the history of working here at Family First Life. On track building a team. And also this past month, protected 118 families already, completely cruise qualifying himself. And now it's how many additional family members and friends and family can he bring with him on the cruise, and how many rooms can he qualify for? But Shadi, as far as I know, is one of the most disciplined and driven guys. I saw him speak at convention and was just floored with his passion on how he helps families and is focused on their goals as a household, and not what he's trying to earn as a commission, but what he can do for them. And he believes in the way this business works is if you take enough people, you take care of enough people, you'll get taken care of yourself. So without further ado, Shadi, how are we doing today, brother?
Man, I'm doing amazing. Appreciate you having me here. I really do.
I appreciate you, man. It's been fun to watch. I mean, just from the sideline, we haven't engaged much, but I know your name, right? Everybody knows who Shadi Gharfeh is because of you being at the top of the leaderboard for years now. And I think that it's been a long time coming. So I'd love if you maybe just give us some background or give us some clarity how you found the industry, how you found FFL, and we'll go from there.
Sure. So when I first started, actually, I came to this business. Well, before came to this business, I used to be in business brokerage. I used sell businesses. Then right after that, I was in the flooring industry. Then I found out about how this works, and at first it was kind of confusing for me, like the amount of money you could be making here. I mean, I was doing well. I was doing like close to 200 grand a year.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like I was in a comfort zone, coming into this business. I'm like, wait a second, like, they were telling me about. I'm like, it sounds too good to be true, right? So I had to do a little bit of research on it at first, but then I just, dived in, and that's been a blessing for me.
Awesome. So how long were you doing? So you said flooring you were selling?
Yeah, I sold flooring for well, for Empire Today. I used to sell. Yeah, I don't care. I can name the company here, right? They know me there. But in general, Empire Today is a flooring company, so I used
Big
to work
company.
with them. It's a huge company.
Yeah.
We used to do flooring industry, so I used to go into people's homes and sell flooring. And the one thing is, it was more like in-home sales. I wasn't on the phone booking appointments or anything like that. But when when I started going to people's homes, I remember the first home I was door knocking. It was, I was praying to God for them not to answer the door. I was nervous as heck. And the reason I'm sharing this is if you're a new person and on this call and then you're nervous, if you're not nervous or you're not scared, then something wrong with you.
That's right. That's very, very true.
Yeah.
So give us now the back. I mean, you told us what is are you born in America?
No, I was
What's the
born in
story of
Jerusalem.
how's that?
So
What's the story of how you aren't you in Florida now?
I am. You see the sunshine behind me, right?
Yeah, beautiful.
I know. Unfortunately, it's not always sunshine like they always say, but in general, the one thing is I was born in Jerusalem. Back back in Jerusalem, and I left Jerusalem to come down to United States when I was 17, and I was like a week before my birthday, and I came here for the land of opportunity. Obviously, I came here to work, and then kind of build myself and build my future up, and it was struggling at first. I mean, I remember the days where I couldn't even afford paying my own rent, right? And I struggled with that, like, to the point where, a couple of times I actually called my family back home, like, hey, I'm tired of this. I want to go back home, until I was reminded that, by my mother that she didn't raise a failure, right? So but the thing behind it is you gotta put in the effort, and sometimes you're gonna go through a lot of difficulty no matter where you go. It doesn't matter where I was, it's just a matter of, doing the right thing and using my time, wisely, as best as I can. So there's a couple times I couldn't even afford my rent, and I got out of it was very difficult. I had to file a bankruptcy, because of, we own a convenience store, and I couldn't even get it to working right because I couldn't, there's a lot of, negativity within the business itself, right? So I lost a lot of money putting, we lost a lot of money putting in it, and I had to close it out, and I couldn't afford my rent, and I had to file a bankruptcy, which was not fun.
No.
But the reality is, it doesn't stop there. I mean, business is business at the end. It's just a matter. I could have gave up, like, you know what, I no longer want to invest in any business anymore. But then when I decided, like, hey, it's just one, it's one chance, and we only, it's the thing is, if you fail once, you just have to keep going. And what fail stand for, first attempt in learning. So I learned from my first failure. It's just a matter of keep failing until I succeed. And here's the thing, I did. I mean, I came down. I used to live in Ohio. I came down to Florida to study the business brokerage and how I can market, become a business broker. Um, that was West Palm Beach area, and then I went to there, and then I went back to Ohio and started marketing as a business broker and dealing with a lot of business owners. That's where I started to, write letters, write handwritten letters. Hey, if you're interested in selling your business, call me. My phone number. I used to fold it. I used to make, like, let's say 300 copies of it or 400 copies. Then I fold them all, put them in an envelope, seal the envelope, and stamp it with red and say confidential for business owner only. The reason is, when people see that, the business owner is the only one that can open it, right? And that's who I want him to open. So, and what I do is I take that letters, and at 4 a.m. in the morning, I'm actually knocking people's doors, taping those letters on the doors. And yes, I did get people call me all the time, be like, "Hey, stop f doing this, stop f doing that," or cuss me out and yell at me, right? Because they got scared. They thought something major, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's red. It sounded like something really important. So they open it because so nervous, and all of a sudden, like, if you're interested in selling your business, just call me, right? But here's the thing: I used to get a lot of leads from it too. I usually get people who wants, "Oh yeah, I'm interested in selling my business. Okay, when can I come talk to you?" And I come right to their business and sit down with them and talk to them about, selling their business and what commission they should pay me to market their business confidentially, right? And that's the thing that, I started getting really good at sales right there. That's when I started to, okay, so I guess if I would have said this way or if I would have said that way, I started like getting a little bit better at it. But the thing is, if I would have, gave up when, which I almost did, right? But if I would have gave up when I lost my first business, I would not be doing this, right?
Yeah.
And I did this for a while, and then, too much competitions into the business, so I got out of it, and then I got into the flooring business. And then right after the flooring business, we were planning, start a restaurant. My wife and I, we were planning on doing this, right? Then COVID happens, all that happens. We didn't want to, risk it because of COVID. I mean, they shut down all restaurants, right? So we started looking into what we need to do, and we got connected with the family first, and we love it since then. We've been doing really well. So I don't think we'll ever be leaving here anytime soon. So
I don't know if anybody plans to be an insurance agent, right? That's I know we were
no, no one
restaurant
does.
sounds far more glamorous and more fun and the exciting, but then you see the money that you can make because as we always hear explained, if the insurance companies didn't have to pay us, they wouldn't pay us. They don't want to pay us, but they can't make the sales without us. And that's where all of you guys out there as agents have the value that we do, is because they can't communicate passion and heart and make Betty and John feel the pain of, if God forbid John didn't come home yesterday and they're sitting here today, what would Betty do? They can't do that through a commercial for 30 seconds in between Jeopardy. So I love that you
Yeah.
shared that. It's such a passionate thing about what we do. So, okay. So you get started here with us, leave flooring, You see insurance, someone starts talking about the commissions, you start looking around. Walk us through the first, 30, 60, 6 months, a year. How all of a sudden does Shadi go from flooring to one of the most elite producers the industry has ever seen?
The one thing that makes me different from a lot of other people is I take my goals very, very seriously. And when I say I take it very seriously, I look at what I do different, and I look at, I look up to a lot of people and what they're doing different, and try to implement everything they're doing. So one of the things I do different is, if I want to hit single goal, I'm willing to do whatever it takes to hit those goals. When I say whatever it takes, I'm gonna share with you a couple of crazy scenario. Driving on the road, going to people's homes, you know, when I was doing final expense, and I get in an accident, I get hit T-point by an F-150 truck. The car almost went upside down, right? The car probably hit me about, maybe 10 feet all the way to the curve of the road. So that happened, and then all of a sudden I got out of the car. First thing I did is check on the other people. It was my fault. I ran stop sign. I didn't pay attention at it. So the whole point of me sharing this is, the ambulance came. Hey, we gotta take you to the hospital. Blah blah blah. Like, no, 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 I'm good. I called my client that night because it was my last client for the day. I was going to reschedule for the next day. Went. I was a travel trip. So went rented a new car, and I was at the client next morning, and that was a $2,500 deal. So this one is the crazy scenario I've done, and there's a lot of crazy scenarios such as when I had COVID with double pneumonia. I was in the hospital and I was making telesales. So in the hospital while on oxygen, right? 10% chance survival. So what I'm trying to get at is I knew what my goal are. That was my very first year, right? My goal is to hit that 1.1 mil no matter what happens. And I was well, like no matter what's gonna hit, no matter what we know what's gonna hit me throughout the road, I'm going to hit it. My goal was to hit over a mil. I was able to hit 1.180 in my very first year, and that's because I took my goal very seriously. So that being said, it's not really, it's how serious are you about your goals and what you're willing to give up to get it. I gave up freedom with my family, freedom with my with my kid. I was traveling all day long. I was on the road nonstop. Flying down to Ohio or to Texas. And just spending time with clients all day long, right? And that's because I'm not dealing. Um, um, I'm not focused on my kids a lot. I was, via phone call, but I wasn't like at home with my kid, right? I'm 2 weeks in Texas, another week in Ohio, a week in Florida. Even the week in Florida, I'm like 4 hours away in Tampa, 3 hours away down to the Sarasota area. So I'm never done. And again, it was tough, but it was what I'm willing to do to hit those goals. So the reason I'm sharing this is what as new agent or any agent here, willing to give up on your time, whether it's your time with the family or whatever it is, why you're willing to give up to hit those goals. And that's what matters.
It's I hear you describe the experience in the hospital, right? You see had COVID, pneumonia, you're on oxygen. And I think that you see this in top elite people, right? And Shadi, I would describe you as an elite top person. People don't have the goals you have to come in and write $1 million their first year. Most don't. Some do, some miss it. Few do, and few hit it. But that's society, right? That's the Pareto principle. That's the law of averages, etc. But if I was to describe you, just getting to know you and how focused you are, for you to make a statement like, I'm laying in the hospital bed with oxygen on doing telesales, I could die, I have a 10% chance of living, to someone like you, and correct me if I'm wrong, you would feel like I'm already dead if I don't work. And if I don't put this effort in, then what's the point of doing it? Because this is what's going to pull you out and give you that 10% chance, because you're pushing towards something so great. Like,
Yep.
although it could be a numerical goal, but it's still, you thrive off of the close, the working forward. Is that fair?
I took the focus off the deathbed they're trying to put me in, right? They're trying to say, they didn't say it to me, by the way, they said it to my wife. The funny part is, my wife is a bad liar, right? She's not, they're not supposed to tell me about it because it's supposed to give me anxiety that could increase the chance of me passing away because of the anxiety and not able to breathe, right? But I was able to pull it out of her. Like, hey, what did they tell you? What did they tell you? What did they tell you? Like, eventually she had to say it, right? Because I found out that, I know that she was lying about it. But the reality behind it is, because the doctor told her to lie, by the way, but the reality behind it is, um, I didn't let that affect me. So one of the things I've done different is I wasn't even a good listener, man. Like, they tried to put me on the ventilator. I'm like, oh, heck no, you're not putting that on me. I was a very bad listener. They walk in on me. I had the oxygen mask on, and I'm, trying to do push-ups. I'm doing push-ups with the oxygen on my face, right? And the nurse came yelling at me like, "You need to get back in bed." Like, okay, well, I'm finishing my sets here, you know, whatever it is. But it's crazy. I have needles, like, the needles in my arm, like where they give me the shots or whatever, and I'm doing push-ups with it, and it's kind of funny. But the reality is, I wasn't easy. I wasn't willing to give up, right? And if I die, I die, but I wasn't willing to give up, and that's what mattered, right? I tell you another crazy one here. They told me, like, they had me 2 weeks on the bed. I wasn't supposed to leave the bed at all. Means I can't even go shower for 2 weeks, and I can't do that. I'm like, I'm sticky, right? So I was like, I called the nurse. She brought us a bucket with a sponge or whatever, and I'm like, no, 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 no. I need a shower. So eventually they like, oh, we can't. You can't leave the bed. You can't. Like, I have to be on a high flow oxygen. So I was like, okay. So I just let her go, and as soon as she let go, I knew I had, like, I pulled out the oxygen of my face, and I was like just counting out how long does it take for my oxygen level to drop down below the 85%. And I realized it takes about 20 to 25 minutes. So I knew with me walking maybe 15 minutes, I knew I have 15 minutes to shower. So I put the oxygen back on and I let it be, right? Once my oxygen went back up, I pulled everything out and I went 10 minutes in the shower. And that nurse walked in and I can hear her actually cursing me out. It was like the craziest thing, dude. But I'm one of the guys is I'm not gonna be giving up that easy on my life in general, and no matter what, on my goals in general, right? So the one thing is, I just have to always keep myself, like, my mindset that no matter what happens, I'm going to do whatever it takes to hit my goals, no matter what they are, whether it's business, whether it's in gym, or wherever it is, wherever my goals are, I'm willing to do whatever it takes to hit those. Make sense?
Yeah, that's powerful, Shadi. Wow. So this happened during year one.
This year it was year one. Yes. Yes, it was year one.
Year one, come in, bedridden, no showers allowed for 2 weeks, still knocking out policies. Gotta. I need to. It's how you feel alive. Okay. All right. We fast forward to year one, and you knock
Mhm.
out a record. I mean, so year two. Now it's year two. You go. I'm gonna do it again. Or what? What? So let's walk us through, and then I want to kind of get the story, but then I
Mhm.
also dig into some actual sales training, guys. We're gonna hear Shadi's word tracks, how he approaches things, lead flow,
Mhm.
etc. But we're kind of like we're learning about this incredible man who's um you're Terminator, Shadi. We got to get you
I
a cool name.
appreciate it. So there's also a lock-in, guys. I'll be at on with Andrew Taylor coming up here in Las Vegas.
Oh, how cool.
Um, yeah, we'll be there March 4th and 5th.
Awesome.
So
Okay, we'll
yeah,
promote that.
will be fun. Yes, sir.
So how
But
so year two. You two year there
year
was
two, I mean, so year two, I was mostly competing with myself for year one.
okay.
So now I realize that I can hit those numbers. What I needed to do now different is this. Okay, so I'm gonna touch base on this very quick. I did 1.1, but I wasn't closing everybody. Well, the only thing different I did between me and a lot of people, okay, is I outworked everybody. So I outworked everybody. So if everybody runs 10 appointments, I'm running like 15. I'm like actively running all day long. I'm at my first appointment at 8 a.m. My last appointment is like 9 p.m., right? And I'm literally like I'm traveling to them too. Don't forget that. So when I'm going into like when I used to wake up at 5 a.m. just to get to my first appointment at 8 a.m. so I can finish my last appointment at 10 a.m., 10 p.m. so I can travel back another 4 hours, which I get home around 2 a.m. in the morning. So I can sleep another 4 or 5 hours to do it all over again, right? So it wasn't easy. So, but I figured that if as I was doing that and hitting that 1.1, that was that was very difficult because of the driving and all that. And yes, sometimes I don't close all of them, but even if I usually close like 50%, right? But that's because I'm still in the learning stage. And that's what a lot of people don't realize is if you put in all the efforts in at first, you get through the learning curve very quick because my learning curve was very quick for me. And that's why in the third month in, I was doing a 60K. Makes sense? In my third month in. So, okay, now my full year, which started January, because I started actually in October of the year before that, right? So December I did 60K, then we're not gonna count that. Let's do January, which is 2021. That's when I started like really heading the 50 to 70K mark, right? And as I was doing that, I tried to figure out, okay, these not gonna get me to the mill. 50, 60K won't get me to the mill. I had to figure out something else to do. So I start figuring out, okay, what I need to do better. Maybe have more appointments, maybe not. So in March, around March area, right, I started hiring a dialer. I was like, listen, I told my dialer, if I have time to dial, I don't need you. If I have time to breathe, I don't need you. The whole point of having you is to be in the field every single day. That's the whole point of hiring you. So if you, and then I'm sharing this in particular for a reason, because there's a lot of people on the call right now, or maybe not, maybe somewhere else, they have a dollar because they have a dollar to become lazy. They have a dollar so they can have more time with the family. That's not my case. I tell my dollars all the time, if I have time to dial, I don't need you. Simple as that, right? So you gotta be very real, right? I know how to dial. I don't need you to dial for me. I need you to make sure maximize my effort. So I figured that I'm selling 50, 60K a month, but that's with, 4 days a week in the field. Because there's 3 days, 2 days dialing, 1 day is underwriting stuff. So I hired a dialer, then I hired an underwriting staff. And I was like, all right, so now I hired you guys. You take care of all the underwriting. People cancels, your job. People waiver is your job. People, underwriting requirements, your job. And then you two are required to dial. I need minimum of 10 to 15 appointments per day. Anything less means I have time to dial. I won't need you, right? And then I put that in place, and then I went ahead and started heavy 7 days a week in the actual field. What that did for me, instead of 4 days, now 7 days, right? So slowly, it took a minute before my dollar got really good. So as of like June, I was Hall of Fame. But then from July all the way until the December, after they got really good at dialing, because it took time to train them, from July until December, I was over 100K producer. But that's so that's how I hit the 1.1. But literally, it was 400K by June. So in July, where it's actually hit really hard.
Got it.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
But I had to kind of like, put those in perspective. Kind of like, what do I need to do to improve what I'm doing? To get my sales better. Now, this is this year my first year. This year one. Now going to year two, all I had to do is compete with myself. Now I get the sales done, right? I figure out how the sales tactic done. All I have to do is do the same thing, but to do it to master it a little bit better. What I mean with master it better is go into when I go into appointment, I need to close more. Instead of closing 50, I'm gonna close 70, I'm gonna close 80. So now my goal is percentage wise. What percentage I'm closing and start improving that side, right? So I start doing that and now it's getting even better as I was doing. Like I started getting better at it. So in a second year, second full year, okay, I was able to hit the 1.380 in issued paid business. And that's because I improved my sales skills in the home. I started coming with higher premium. Now, in the third year in, now I start to figure out a way to keep that momentum going and still have a day off a week, at least we try to. And I did by selling on a higher premiums IULs. So I was able to travel more with the family in doing that and still was able to hit 1.45 in issued paid business, 1.37, whatever it is.
1.45
So
sounds better. We're going 1.45.
that works too. The This year now, this is my full fourth year in.
Okay.
So in this year, my goal is to hit over 1.6.
Okay.
So like I said, all I'm doing is competing with myself. So in order for me to do that, I am back into the 7 day schedule again. But with that 7 day schedule, I'm taking maybe 2 days off a month. That's it. So instead of taking 1 day off a week, I'm taking 2 days off a month. But by the way, I say that and it's addictive because this year alone, I haven't taken a single day off. Even when I was in Dubai, I was still working. But in general, I need to because my family been asking me for it, right? To take maybe 2 days off a month to kind of spend it with them. Make sense? But
Yeah.
in general, this like the reason I am not taking as much days off this year is because I have a bigger goal than what I did last year. And again, that's personal production. That's not yet that my team goals, which
Yeah.
obviously we're taking to that here later on to the call as well.
Got it. Shadi, that is just it's like an athlete, like a triathlete or someone running a marathon or an ultra marathon, right? You don't just set out, you start running and then you go, I want to run a marathon, and you run every single day to do it and you make it happen. And then you go, I want to run the marathon instead of in 5 hours, I'm going to run 4. Instead of running in 4, you work, I want to do it in 3.5. And now I want to run it sub threes. And now you just keep, you have a goal. And in our business, it's monetary. And that's okay. We're a capitalistic society. America was built on small business, and we're happy that people can go out there and make money, providing great lives for their family. But to see you having such specific goals and sacrificing time, and I know it must be hard now. How many children do you have?
Two.
Two. So two kids. How old are they?
So I got Charlie's about to be 4 here in March.
Okay.
And I got Abby who is about about to be what 3 weeks, 4 weeks old now.
Wow. 4 weeks. That's
About to be four
amazing.
weeks here coming up.
So your wife's a saint because you're not home much, but maybe you have a nanny, which you can afford when you write 1.4.
No, I don't have a nanny. So but the one thing I can tell you is, my wife, the one thing, like I spoke with her a couple times on this, and I kind of explained it that, as long as you're there for the kids whenever they need you, and you don't have to ask somebody boss or your boss to figure out whether or not you can leave early to be there for your kid, then we're blessed.
Yeah, it's true.
And that's what matter, right? When my kid goes to daycare to go to school, whatever, and something happens, he gets sick. I don't have to ask, or she doesn't have to ask a boss, hey, can I leave early? I need to go get my son. They told me he's sick in the daycare. Oh no, you're gonna get fired if you do,
Yeah,
right? She doesn't have to do that. She just go and pick him up, right? Because it's her job as a mother. And so is my job as a father, but I'm far away, right? So in general, it's a team effort, right? And her job is definitely harder than mine. I mean, raising the kid and the way she does, I mean, it's amazing, right?
yeah. Of
And that's one thing that I appreciate her on all day long.
course, they're saints. They we wouldn't. You might be driven without your wife and kids, but you're far more driven with them. And to be able to create
100%.
something, build a fortress around them, and to know a path for their life, that if anything happens or anything they want, that you can, have the ability to make any decision you want. And that's, as I got 4, so I'm very on the same page. But I would, and this is just me and you talking for a second, that there might be frustrations about not being able to see them as much because you're so disciplined on your goals, and they're little and they're cute, but being able to spend time with them when they're 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, high school, but then you've got a bank account that's full and you've got a business that's grown and you're now completely in control of your time, is going to pay so many dividends from the sacrifice that you're making now by missing them when they're little and cute. And so, you know,
Agreed.
it's always hard, right? You got to pick your heart, right? But if you can crush it now, and I mean, if you can crush it now,
They say
it
being
now,
poor is hard. Yeah, they
yeah,
say being poor is hard and being rich is hard.
yes,
Just gotta choose your heart, man.
that's right.
Personally, I'd rather pick the rich and hard, than poor and hard. So
Right. That's right, man.
yeah.
Well, okay. So we got your story and that's fantastic. Let's dig into some of your sales tracks, your word
Sure.
tracks, and maybe, a glimpse into your lead flow, whether it's type or volume. Maybe start there and then we kind of go into, and I think, are you selling only IULs now? Just kind of lead us into that area, that world, and what people can go, okay, what I want to mirror, I want the Shadi plan, right? How do I get it? Well, watch this video, and this is what you need to do to be able to try to catch the Terminator.
So the one thing is we generate our own leads and our own marketing now, which is pretty amazing. Now, to me personally, leads are leads. Um, they're not leads are not guaranteed. They're just an opportunity. That's all they are, right? A lot of people and I get people call me all the time, be like, "Oh, this lead sucks." I'm like, "Yeah, I know. I mean, what do you expect, right? They all suck at the end. Just matter of opportunity." But I'm gonna word this a little bit different, and I hope I don't offend nobody. I'm just gonna be very real with this. There's no such thing as suck client or suck lead, but there's such thing that called suck agent. And if the agent is not willing to put in the effort and work this lead, right? Here's the thing: you're not gonna make it through, right? And we have a full software now, our own CRM and all that fun stuff. So I see everybody on my team and what they're actually dialing, and when they're dialing their agents or not, right? Or they're dialing their client or not. And we get that a lot where I actually call agents out all the time, like, hey, well, they took call me like I dialed all day. I'm like, dude, I've only dialed like what 70 dials all day, man. What do you mean dialed all day? Like you had 8 hours, 9 hours, 10 hours to dial, but you only dialed 70 leads. So it doesn't even make sense, right? So the reality is you gotta hold yourself accountable to your schedule. And when I say hold yourself accountable to the schedule, when you dial, make sure you're dialing minimum 55 to 60 dials per hour, right? If you're dialing any less than that, you are not really dialing. That's my main goal is hold yourself up to your activity, not your results. So the more activity you have, the better results you're gonna have. Two, a lot of people they sell one big policy, a couple big policies, whatever it is, they call it off the day. Why? Why is that, right? They mentally like, oh yeah, I already made 5K today, so I'm good now. I don't need to work anymore. It doesn't work this way. You'll never gonna make it this way neither, right? You gotta, make sure every sale you do is the first sale. Other people, what they do is they get through um a problem with no sales or no show all day. They get through that, and then all of a sudden they're just very stressed and so they give up for the day. They're like, you know what, I'm done. I'm not gonna work on the day. And I got Asian did this over here. I'm not gonna say names, but hopefully he's on the call and he can hear me. I got an Asian over here did that a couple times, right? And the reality is that's not how it should be done because all you're looking for is one deal. One deal, that's it. So I was in Dubai. I just got back yesterday. I'm
Oh,
there for a business opportunity, by the way. So when I was there, we were looking at I was literally guys, and I want to share this because it's a reality, right? I was meeting with a lot of business brokers there because I'm trying to buy a business in Dubai, right? So I was meeting with a lot of business brokers while there, and I was very busy. But the reality is, as you guys know, there's 9 hours different between here and over there. Well, California probably what 13, what 12 hours different. But in general, um, there's 9 hours difference. So at 7 p.m., but 8 p.m. my time over in Dubai would be like about early time over here when I run appointments. That's when I ran my appointments, right? And I was running my appointments from 8 all the way until um, literally 5, 6 a.m. in the morning. Then after that, I'm sleeping until like 10, so 3, 4 hours sleep. Then I wake up, I hit the gym for 30 minutes maybe, and then I'm literally going straight to all my appointments all day long. All day long. I literally, when I was in Dubai, I was sleeping 3 hours a day. That's it, right? Because I could have easily, I have a team running. I could have easily said, you know what, I'm not running appointments. No, because I got other stuff to take care of. And somebody else probably would do that, but I wouldn't. Because there's the goal that I'm trying to achieve here are different from the goal that I'm trying to achieve in Dubai. And there are there are two different goals, and I'm gonna achieve both, right? But I cannot achieve both if I'm not managing my time properly. So working hard and working smart and making sure you're doing the right thing for yourself and your family is the right key here. And I knew what I'm doing is just gonna have a big result for me in the long run. And that's what I did when I first started, right? I knew the results. I knew what's coming, and this is one of the reasons why I went home to my wife that time. I was like, "Listen, you're not going to see me. You're just not gonna see me for for a while. I'm gonna be working my ass off until this goal is achieved. Not until I'm done. No, it's until my goal is achieved." So, and this one of the things I've done a little different than a lot of people, don't, are not willing to do because they're uncomfortable or, oh no, I love my family, or of course I love my family too. But a lot of people like, oh yeah, I love my family. I want to spend time with them. Like, dude, I love mine. I love my family to death. And something happens, God forbid, when they need me, I'll be there like right now. But the reality is, because I love my family, I'm sacrificing too. It's just every person, and again, no, everybody has different goal, but every person has different way of, showing their love to their family. My way of showing my love to my family by working hard every day and making sure they never struggle. By
Awesome.
also being able to do things like, helping my family back home, trying to get my family out of the country, like helping, my mother or my like being able to do stuff like that and not being, in or helping even my in-laws, right? We had retired my in-laws, we retired my mom. So what I'm trying to see is or say here is being able to do stuff like that and not having to think twice whether or not you can afford it. So one thing about me, Brady, I'm not one of those guys who goes out of his way and trying to buy all these fancy cars or $5 million homes, or I'm not into this stuff, right? I'm into like even my wife and I when her and I we sat down and talked, I told her, hey, listen, the one thing is I want to have the simplest life as possible. I don't care about any fancy stuff. I care about simple. That's all I care for, right? A home that's paid off, I'm happy with. A car that's paid off, I'm happy with. Other than that, I don't care about anything else. Whatever we have is all going toward investments, right? The reality is, I'm not like I don't like to show off with my fancy stuff whatsoever, right? But when I do what I do when I do what I do, I love teaching others and show them how I did it. Because here's the thing, I struggle, and I know people struggles too. But every single problem out there that you can actually solve it with one thing: work hard, no matter what problem it is. When I lost my apartment and I got evicted, right? The only way I was able to solve it by working hard. When I couldn't pay my rent, the only problem can solve it. Like the only solution is to work hard. When I filed a bankruptcy, the only solution was is to work hard. Like every single problem, the solution for it is always, most of them is working hard. Even on your marriage, you know, you have marriage problem, work hard on solving it. Everything is gonna be about working toward it, right? To working toward those goals. And the other one thing, no matter, right here, same thing. Like if my thing is I want to hit 1 million, I'm gonna work hard to hit those 1 million. But you can't come to me as an agent, where whoever in here, right? You can't come to me as an agent and be like, I want to hit $1 million, but then you only work 3 days a week. I'm like, you're lying. You're not being honest with yourself.
Yeah.
So
Amen.
it's yeah,
Okay. So, all right, you got me fired up, Shadi. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go run appointments right now.
let's do it.
Um, okay, so you generate your own leads, and then are they what do we talk? Which type are you focused on? Are you focused on? And then I'd love to hear
Yeah,
some at least intro script type stuff, whatever you do
yeah.
to control.
So I focus a lot on IUL and annuity now. Um,
Okay.
that's one, and two. The way we approach them is keep it very simple and very conversational, right? So, hey Brady, hey, my name is Shadi. I'm here to help you with your IUL, infinite banking, show you how this works for you. So very quick. What piqued your interest? What gets you interested in the IUL?
Um, Good.
Yeah, go ahead.
Tax that the retirement income aspect. I don't really have a retirement with my
Oh,
job, and I'm interested in that.
dude, what do you do for a living, man?
I I work at post office. There we go.
Wait a second. You tell me the post office is not giving you a retirement, or they're
I
just
work at
giving you
Home
crappy
Depot.
retirement?
I'm a manager at
Okay.
Home Depot. There we go.
You tell me your Home Depot is not giving you a retirement, or they're just giving you a crappy retirement?
It's not I don't think it's going to be enough. So I wanted to look
Got
into
it.
what this IUL is.
All right. And what's your income there, man? What they're paying you?
About 90,000 a year right now.
90,000. Okay. Let's see if we can help you out here, man. The one thing is, how's your health? Do you have any health issues?
No, very healthy.
Okay. Are you on any medication at all?
Just ibuprofen in the morning. Nothing other than that.
Okay.
No,
So nothing like major, like diabetes, blood pressure, high cholesterol, low cholesterol, anything like that?
no.
Okay, good. And the reason I'm asking, man, you do know IUL is still a life insurance vehicle that protects security to your family, which is something really important because no matter if you're going to use it, no matter when, right? But it also offers all the other extra stuff, like such as your income advantage, such as you have your living benefit. I'm going to go over that here in a minute. But before we go over that here, most people like to put 10% of their income in the IULs to kind of have a higher return on their contribution. So my question for you is, how much do you really want to put in it? Now, I
Um,
would recommend 99,000 a year. That's 90% of your income. But what do you think you want to put in?
I just I don't know if I'm saving that much right now, but uh
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, I'm putting away a portion of my paycheck in the 401k because they give me like a 2% match, but I'm still trying to learn more about it. I didn't really have 9,000 uh
Sure.
carved out.
So what can you put in? Because I need to draw an illustration based on those numbers.
Okay.
Okay.
Probably 300 a month, probably to start might be something that I think we
Let's
could.
let's look at that. Fair enough. I'm gonna go over that with you, but here I'm gonna ask you, do you have any car payments? You pay any car payment now?
One, my truck, I got a new truck,
Okay, how much are you paying on that?
600 a month.
Okay. Can I ask you why would you willing to put $600 a month into your truck, but 300 a month into a vehicle that's gonna get you a return?
It's a nice
You
truck.
do know. Here's the thing. You do know this difference between liability and asset, right? You know the difference between liability and asset?
Yeah,
No?
yeah.
Okay. You don't, right? So you do know you're paying $600 a month into liability and you don't have no asset in there.
Good.
You're losing your money the minute it walks out of the car the lot, right? You know that?
Okay.
Okay. So I'm gonna touch base with you in this, okay? And please don't get mad at me. I'm gonna be very fair with you. Okay. If you would have had an IUL 10 years ago, you would not have a truck payment today. Would you agree?
I don't know how it works yet, but that sounds way better than having a $600 car payment.
100% because you can take loans against it. I'm sure that's why you called us, right? Because
That's
you
right.
saw how you can take loans against it, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure you saw the videos we have, correct?
Yeah.
It showed you in the video how you can take loans against it and use it for your advantage and all that fun stuff. So literally it's right there for you. So you can take loans against it. You don't have to pay it back, completely tax free, and you can use it to pay for your car. What most people do, smart people, right? And you're
Yeah.
a smart guy. So
Okay.
we want to make sure that we set you up properly. So now let me ask you again. How much do you think you want to put in an IUL on a monthly basis?
Like 500 now, and maybe I think my truck's
Sure.
almost paid off, so that would be so that maybe when it's paid off, I can move more into it.
Right. Smart. All right. So let's see what we can do for you then 500. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this. I'm gonna draw some illustration for you. We're gonna look at some numbers. Okay. If you like the numbers and you like what you see here today, we're gonna move forward and get an application started. which takes 2 days to a week before we hear an approval.
Okay.
If you don't like what you see, then we'll part away with love, no hard feeling. Is that fair?
It's fair. Yeah.
Okay. So just want to let you know, as we do this application, we go through it. They can need your social security, run your background. They can need your driver license information to make sure you don't have any bad driving history. And you can need banking information to link to your IUL for monthly contributions. I want to make sure we're clear on that before we move forward with the illustration. Are you okay with that?
I'm okay with that. That's no problem.
All right, but so I'm gonna go ahead and draw this illustration. So here's your illustration. Let's say I drew it already. So first thing first, you're putting in $500 a month. That's $6,000 a year. Okay. Let's assume you're gonna do that for the next 20 years. You do that for the next 20 years, you'd be, I don't know, 55 by then. I don't know how young are you, right? You'd be 55 by then. All right. If you take that $6,000 times 20, that's $120,000 in total contribution. So far makes sense. If you look right there, 56, 57, 58, it's zeroed out. You're not paying any, obviously, by the way, guys, I'm sharing my screen with him, obviously,
Yeah.
right? So if you look at 50, 56, 57, 50 years, you're not really paying any money anymore. You're done, right? You're done funding it. Now let's look at what kind of return you get. First thing first, you die tomorrow. There's a $200,000 minimum death benefit that we set up under that goes to um, Jennifer, right? Whoever it is. I usually make sure one thing is I always say the name of
Sure.
the beneficiary, right? Try to figure out the name is throughout my presentation. So I'm like, Jennifer will get, $200,000. God forbid you die tomorrow, she's gonna get $200,000. As long as you still live, but you get sick, any major health condition like chronic to critical, terminal, you can get up to that amount depending on how measured it is. That goes to you. Just for being sick, you don't have to die from it. Is that fair?
Yeah.
These are covered start day one, and these are tax free. Now, I'm sure that's not why you called us. You're worrying about more the cash value accumulation. Let's go over that for a minute. So we got two lines here. We got the cash value and surrender value. The cash value is what you're accumulating on. Surrender value is how much cash you have on hand. But that being said, as your money is growing over the years, it's going to grow based on the accumulation value, which never decrease. That's why we call it uninterrupted compounding interest.
Okay.
Uninterrupted means you take 50 grand out of surrender value, your accumulation value will still be had like 50 grand in it, and it's gonna grow based on 50 grand, not based on what you pulled out.
Okay.
So that being said, let's say year five you have X amount, year 10 you have X amount, year 15, then this year 20. Now here's the thing. Now you doubled how much you can get, how much you put in it. Check this one out, Mr. Brady. So you're zero, you're no longer putting money in it,
Okay.
but you are still growing every single year right after that. It doesn't stop growing. As you take money out of it, you take it from the surrender. You don't take it from the accumulation. Accumulation will still grow based on what you left in there. It never decreases. And at retirement age, you have, or let's say like at the age of 80, you have $1 million in there. And let's say you don't use it at all, and you die at the age of 90, Jennifer will have $2 million that you leave her behind. So guess what you just did? You protected your family. You protected yourself in the event of job losses due to illness, and protected your retirement, all into one plan. So, do you have any question for me? All
How
right,
much
perfect.
I put in?
Like we discussed, you and I, man, $500 a month. That's 120 grand in total of 20 years.
Shadi, there was
Fair
so
enough.
much. That was fantastic. There's so much just checkpoint zinger. I want to, so one, drop a SG to show Shadi some love for opening the playbook for a second, because that was awesome. So when we open,
Appreciate you.
I love how you take control. Like it's like control. So most people put in 10%, right? That's $9,000. Can you put in $9,000? Okay. I bulk a little bit and I go, I could probably do 300. You checkmate me back and go, do you have a car payment? Yes, it's $600 truck. Okay. So you care more about your liabilities than your assets. IUL is an asset, your liability is a truck. Hypothetically, what are some other angles you do at that section? What if I don't have a car payment? Like what else are you going to do to kind of checkmate people right there?
Cable bill.
Cable bill. Okay.
Yeah, you can use your cable bill. You're
Okay.
paying extra $100 a month on channels that you don't even use, just for you to let people know I have these channels, and yet you're not even using them.
Okay.
I call them out on that, or I can call them out on maybe their rent, maybe their I'm putting in extra $1,000 a month into my mortgage payment. I use that too. Why?
Got it.
Why? To save yourself 2-3% interest? Why don't you put in IUL and get 10% interest? So now I'm $1,000 over what 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 the budget is,
There
right?
you go.
So I use all that.
That's
Use every
brilliant.
single tool you have.
That's perfect. That's because that right there takes you from salesman to consultant. And people
Correct.
don't like salesmen, but they trust consultants. A doctor is a consultant. A salesman, walks around on the car lot, right?
Yep.
And that's awesome. So, okay, so protect your family, illness, job loss, retirement, all in one policy. Okay, so it sounds good. How are you closing it, right? I mean, how do you keep them from shopping around or from filling out any more form?
Yep, I already discussed it with him in the beginning. So we're
Okay,
gonna go ahead and put an application. So we're done there. Do you have any question? You said no, right? All right, so let's go ahead and start the application. Okay.
okay. What do you
Literally, I go
do?
over the application, and we already discussed at the beginning that we're gonna use your social, travel license number, your social, your routing account number, all that.
Any post-sale touch points, emails, postcard, text message, thank you card, call back? What do you do to solidify it?
I don't do any of that besides just send them a text message later on after they're approved, like, hey, congrats, you've been approved. Next step is make sure you download the app on your phone so you can able to track your policies, see your sales, your cash value, your death benefit, all that fun stuff. And then just if you have any questions, we can always touch base later on. If you need any question, you can call me at any given time. Here's my phone number. Congrats on approval, and we look forward to work with you in the long run.
Brilliant, Shadi. When you're so good up front, you don't have to do as much on the back. When you assert so much confidence and take care of them, address their needs, that's excellent.
Yep.
All right, as we wrap it up, any final thoughts you have to these budding group of new agents? Anybody out there? Any final advice you have for us tonight?
I would say don't be cheap with leads. Work hard. Um, you know, don't give up on your goals. Wherever your goals are, don't you know take your goals seriously. Don't say, hey, I want to hit a mill and I'm actually working 3 days a week, because it's not gonna happen, right? But if you're working really hard, no matter where your goals are, you can achieve them. Just a matter of working them. I actually beat myself if I don't hit my goals. So that's when the thing is, don't worry, I don't beat myself literally. I mean, like, I beat myself to it. Like, why? What did I do wrong? Like, try to figure out what I did wrong, right? Another tip I give is, when you sit in front of a client, you don't close it, or if you fail, it's because of you, and if you succeed, it's because of you. And that being said, is you can't succeed and say it's because of me, but then I failed, it's because of my upline or my leads. That doesn't make sense. So that being said, please make sure that you blame yourself for everything, whether your success or your failure. If you fail, remember, it's first attempt in learning. Just figure out what you need to do better to actually improve the next appointment you sit with, or next sale you're sitting with.
Amazing,
And
Shadi. Thank
I'm
you.
I'm spending about 20K a week. I mean, sorry, a month on leads.
20 a month, five grand a week on leads,
Yep.
issuing 25. So about 15 to 20% invested. And there's no guarantees. We don't make guarantees, but this is the results he's gotten after incredibly hard work and skill growth. But Shadi, thank you so much. Everybody, fill the chat with 1.6. That's what we want to do. We're cheering him on for his goal for 1.6.
1.6. We're gonna hit it.
1.6, man. Epic, incredible, and just totally possible. Gonna fill your whole closet with gold jackets now, Shadi. But
Let's do it.
thank you for your time today, brother. If I can help you with anything in any way, shape, or form, I appreciate you so much. Thank you for digging in today and opening up the playbook. It's been a true honor to learn from you and to spend some time with you here. Have an awesome day.
Great. Thank you for having me here, man. God bless, guys.
God bless
Appreciate it.
you, brother. Have a great day.
Bye.